I'm Tony Sklar with bnetTV. We are here at the mHealth Summit in Washington, D.C. for 2012. I am speaking with Mr. David Fetterolf of Stratus Video. How are you today, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Excellent. For all the people out there in bnetTV land, why don't you give us a brief overview of Stratus Video and what you're doing here at the mHealth Summit?
Stratus Video, we are a video remote interpreting company. We're here obviously exhibiting at mHealth. And we've got sort of the latest technology that we're deploying into hospitals and health systems to interpret other languages. So when a patient comes to, say, the emergency room, if that patient is deaf or speaks Spanish or Korean or some language that the physician does not understand, you can use one of our our product, and the physician can pull out an iPad or an Android device or a PC. They can touch one button, and within 30 seconds, we have an interpreter live on the iPad all over the Wi-Fi, and the interpreter can see the patient and interpret the conversation.
What does that business market look like on a global scale? And I don't necessarily mean from an economic standpoint. I mean from a numbers standpoint. How often does this happen where, and I'm assuming it's quite often because I can imagine, getting into a foreign hospital where, I don't speak Mandarin. Weird, but, I don't, a little bit, but not enough to get through. This is where it hurts.
Yeah, this is an enormous market, as you can imagine. I mean, in the United States, a good segment of the population does not speak English. And the two ways that this is handled today, number one, hospitals employ and have on staff interpreters. All right, so the interpreting is done on site by an interpreter, and the problem with that is, number one, it's very expensive. All right, and number two, the physician may have to wait a half hour, an hour for the interpreter to get there and to see the patient. The other way that hospitals traditionally handle the interpreting is they do phone interpreting. With phone interpreting, there's special devices with two handsets, and all the studies have really proven that a good part of interpreting is actually seeing the patient and looking at how the patient says different things. And so this new technology, the video remote interpreting, is not as good as on-site, but it's within 30 seconds you get an interpreter. It's much better than over the phone, and the costs are similar to an over-the-phone interpreter. And
I'm making the assumption that the inevitable diagnosis or dealing with the problem in time reduces the overall because of the sheer idea of, I think she said this, I'm not really too sure, we need to ask again kind of thing. If they can just pull it off of the device, point it at the person, and there's that interpretation, and is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, this is a live interpreter, so when you press the button, it brings a live interpreter right on the screen, and the interpreter is talking to the patient and then talking to the physician. And you're absolutely right. I mean, interpreting is critical for the diagnosis, and today in many hospitals, someone, if someone comes in that speaks Mandarin, lots of times they'll talk to the child who may speak English and Mandarin, and that child doesn't know medical terms, or they'll pull a receptionist that may know Mandarin, and the interpreting, it's just not nearly as good. Yeah, it's not like having a certified medical interpreter on the line.
Are you offering that end-to-end solution? Is that the totality of it, or is it just the technology in between?
No, it is the end-to-end solution. So, the technology is what differentiates us. There's nobody else on the market with our technology that works on the latest, iPad, Android devices, as well as legacy equipment, the Polycom devices, the Cisco devices. But we also provide the interpreters. We have 26 interpreting centers around the country. And those interpreters are working 7x24. So, when you touch one of our languages, it comes right up, and within 30 seconds you've got an interpreter.
And let's talk about the implementation of it. Is it available in the market space today, or when will that happen?
Oh no, it's available today. We launched the company about a year ago. We've signed some of the major institutions around the country. Literally in the first 6 months, everybody's jumping on this. And so it's a well-proven, technology that is in the market and working today, and in a very new space.
I'm going to make the assumption that every hospital has this issue. I mean, this clearly can't be, I shouldn't say every, but clearly within the populous centers, they're going to have those issues on a regular basis. Maybe not in some of the rural areas, but the populous areas, come on, that happens all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And even in the rural areas, I mean, just think about Spanish, right? I mean, Spanish is almost everywhere, right? And so, yeah, almost every hospital in the country has this issue. And you really need to do it with certified interpreters. And seeing the interpreter is so much better than just talking to the interpreter on the phone.
And then finally, I'm going to ask, what are some of the hurdles that still exist within that market space, and how is Stratus helping get over them?
I'll tell you the main hurdle is this is a new technology, a very old problem, but a new technology. And with any new technology, you've got to make sure that the adoption, is there. You've got to train all the physicians in these large institutions on, where the device is, how to use it, and it has to work all over the Wi-Fi network within the hospital. Excuse me. So you have some technology challenges when you go to implement a hospital to make sure that it's secured, it's data encrypted, and all the things that, it follows all the HIPAA guidelines.
That is fantastic. Listen, David, thank you so much for taking the opportunity to speak with us here today at the mHealth Summit. I hope we get a chance for an update in the future. There's no question that you're well positioned within a market space that is booming.
Yes, very much so, and thank you for having me. We're looking forward to dominating this space in the future.
Fantastic. I've been speaking with Stratus Video's Mr. David Fetterolf here at the mHealth Summit in Washington for 2012. I'm Tony Sklar with bnetTV.